Family, welcome back to Goals and Growth. Now, last time we checked out this interview between Andrew Tate and I believe this guy, what is this guy's name? Let me just make sure of this before we start. So, Omar Ileta. We checked out the first part of the interview and we stopped at around 30 minutes. So if you want to check out part one of this interview, make sure that you go and check out the previous video. I'll link it on the screen for you. Thank you for tuning into Goals and Growth. Now, this is a self-improvement and self-help channel, but I also do like to showcase this type of podcast content just to open your eyes up to how the world truly is out there and to showcase the experiences of real people. Ladies and gentlemen, as a token of my gratitude for you today, I've compiled a special PDF document suited exactly toward your goals. This document entails the exact strategies that I use to this day to make the most of my life, to get the most productivity out of myself. So if you're stuck in a rut and you desire a change in your life, I do recommend that PDF for you. It is 100% free to download in the description. Thank you very much for being interested. Thank you very much for tuning in today, and let's get to it.
Andrew Tate ever had a job?
Interesting.
Oh yeah, I've had jobs.
What were your first jobs? Walk people down that lane.
I'm not a rich guy. I'm just a poor guy with lots of money. I am, no, but I mean that. Mm-hmm. I've had jobs. I started off my first job, I was carrying boxes of fish.
How old were you?
15.
50. That was your first job?
Yeah, there were like 25 kilo boxes of fish with ice in them, and I was carrying them from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. at a fish market.
Yeah.
That was my first job. I've worked in sales. I was an IT technician at my school.
No way.
Yeah, I've done loads of things.
Andrew Tate was on sales calls?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I've done loads of different jobs. And I'm very glad I grew up in the real world, because I think that there's no light without dark. And if you're born rich or you're born privileged, you're going to have a particularly unique experience of misery, because you're not going to be truly happy. You're not going to understand why. And no one's going to ever feel sorry for you or understand it, because, of course, you're from a privileged background. You're living this great life. But you need to have had bad things happen to you for you to appreciate any of the good things you're ever going to have. So
that's a fact.
In fact, when my brother and I talk, often we talk about the stories from the bad days. Our best stories, our happiest memories are when we were completely broke. Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny how the good old days are constantly being lived and you don't appreciate them till afterwards. But I've worked a bunch of normal jobs.
I forgot pause is now K, but anyway, just think about it, right? If you don't go through those trials and tribulations, if you don't face challenges in your life, how are you ever going to grow? It is that adversity and it is those challenges that make you a stronger person at the end of the day. Most people are afraid of it. Most people are afraid of it because it leads to failure. But ultimately, failure is actually a good thing, because failure teaches you valuable lessons. Failure teaches you that, okay, you know what? I did this incorrectly. Let me sharpen up. I did this. I could have done this better. Let me do it better next time. Right? So instead of seeing failure as something that is a permanent defeat, see it as a learning opportunity.
A very normal life until I reached the highest echelon of finances. And I guess that's where you learn all the lessons on the way, where you start from a single mother household on government housing all the way to the top, to having companies worth billions of dollars. And you pass through all the different stages along the way. And you see all the different attitudes of the people as you go through it.
What were some of the other jobs, if you don't mind me asking, that you had? You fish, sales?
Muslims are even starting to ask, why did this happen to us? We have the messenger of Allah with us. What are you doing?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So yeah, I worked in the fish market for a while, which was fun, but it was very physically intensive, and I was training at the time. I wanted to become a kickboxing world champion, so I decided to get an easier job. I got a job as an IT technician at my own school, at my old school. I was 17 then.
You went to college?
No, I did go to college. I went to college in England, but I'm not sure how it matches up with the American educational system. So
yeah,
sure.
I finished high school at 16. I went to college 17 and 18. When I was 18 and I finished college, I went back to my old high school and worked as an IT technician, but I got fired for sleeping with one of the students.
Good Lord.
She was very hot. She was 16, I was 18, I got fired. And then I got fired from there. And then I went and got a sales job.
How did sales sharpen you? Because one of the common denominators of some of the most successful people in the world has always been sales. I did door-to-door sales.
Yep.
That is a fact, right? And if you look at some of his motivational stuff, if you look at his promotional clips for the real world, you would realize that, okay, maybe this guy worked in sales before. He definitely has some sales skills in him. In fact, he has fantastic sales skills. Right? He could sell ice to an Eskimo. He's one of those salespeople. But that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me that he has that background.
I used to work selling solar. I later worked at Tesla. And it was always in sales, and it sharpens you to a whole new level. How did sales?
I think the best salespeople in the world are double glazing salesmen.
What is that?
Windows double glazing salesmen.
Why is that?
I think that must be the hardest sales job, because if you sell cars, for example, somebody turns up on the car lot, and they've turned up at the Audi dealership because they have a degree of respect for the Audi brand.
Yes.
And they maybe want an Audi. And you have to convince them it's better than the BMW and make sure they can afford it and sell them the Audi. Okay, fine. But if you're going to sell somebody windows, they don't have any, they already have windows in their house. You're not turning up to some crack den with no windows. So first thing you have to make them want the windows.
Right.
That's the first thing you have to do. You unsolicitedly knock on someone's door and say, I'm here to give you windows. And they're going to say, I have windows, I don't want windows. And then you're going to sit there and convince them that they need windows. And then once you've convinced them of that, you have to convince them to choose you over all your competitors and spend thousands and thousands of dollars, $20,000 or $30,000 replacing plastic and glass that they already had in their walls. I think that'd be a very hard job to do. And I think that would make you a very good salesman.
Indeed. I do think he has a valid point. Certain, if some of you work in sales, please let us know in the comment section what type of sales you do. But I think certain things obviously are more appealing to people. Some things people desire more, so it's easier to sell it to them. Something as common as windows or curtains or chairs even is extremely hard to sell. And luckily I have not gone through that experience yet. I'm not a quote unquote salesperson. But if some of you have had experience with selling something that is very hard to sell, please tell us your story in the comment section. We'd love to hear.
But life is sales in general, right? You have to be able to make people understand the way you think. And I think that's all sales effectively is. It's having thoughts and being able to project them in a way that people follow them logically and want to agree with you or are inclined to agree with you at the end. So I think life is sales. Getting a girl to fall in love with you to a degree is sales.
It's sales.
And convincing a judge you're innocent is sales.
And it builds tremendous character and resilience.
So, you have to get used to being rejected.
Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of times over. Yeah, it builds character.
And it's amazing how if you start a sales job and you're rejected at the beginning, it's such a big deal. But after a while, the rejection just doesn't sting anymore.
Yeah.
Which perhaps answers back earlier when we were talking about my confidence to sit here and say things that get me in trouble. It just doesn't sting anymore.
Did you?
This will come out and the BBC will type up something about what I said and how bad of a person I am.
I absolutely love
it. Just doesn't matter.
I absolutely love this petty beef with the BBC. He's going to keep hammering on that coffin. Andrew, they're buried, bro. The nail is in the coffin. You're just hammering it in even deeper. You're hammering more nails in.
I'm that guy now. I just keep knocking at the door of fate. I keep knocking at the door, waiting for them to eventually grab me and throw me in the cell. So we'll see how it goes.
Good Lord. Okay, ladies and gents, we're going to do part 3 very, very soon. But interesting story, right? Telling us about his first job. Telling us, and many people will sit here and think, you know what, man, he just jumped into entrepreneurship. He just jumped into being a millionaire. You heard the man himself. Adversity builds character. He had to face that adversity as a child. He had to learn those lessons in order to get where he is today. But please, now that we've spoken about jobs here, please let us know what you do in the comment section. Some of you are salespeople, let us know. If you're a scientist, let us know. If you're an accountant, please let us know what you do in the comment section. And please let us know if you enjoy it or not. Tell us a story. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much for tuning into Goals and Growth. I'll see you next time.